And I will put a yoke of iron upon thy neck. Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. You can start at the 47th verse. Anyway, what I did was I took Deuteronomy 28 verse 48 and I went to commentary, and most of the commentary, I mean, you can go to it if you want, they didn't even say too much about it. The Cambridge commentary, you just read one line and they didn't say nothing. Basically, that subject is a hot potato. Now what I did was I went to the blue letter, put the precept in, and I clicked on yoke, and the meaning, it says the yoke of iron is basically figurative more than literal. And when you read the various precepts, it pretty much speaks of the yoke of iron being upon thy neck as figurative, but it's also literal. And that took place during the time of hardcore slavery. This is more evidence that we are the Israelites. So let me see you wiggle your way out of this one, Vocab Malone. See what we do, the Most High set us up to preach this gospel, make it publish it throughout the whole world, and then the end come. This is part of the gospel. The gospel means good news, and the good news is this: that the Most High is going to take those yokes of iron off our necks, which the physical yoke of iron is not on our necks, but we have let's say yokes upon us in the form of documentation, the birth certificate, the Social Security, the various adhesion contracts, like for example your driver's license is an adhesion contract. It's not an application, it's an adhesion contract. Meaning when you get your driver's license, you are bound by the state. You know, Jake just can't get up and go to another country without his paperwork. You need a passport. So you're not free. Now you see here, I'll put this up raw. You see the individual right here. Let's get a closer look. This is a Israelite, and look at the garment that he's wearing. See, the so-called white man in slavery, when you work it out in the field, he gave you trousers and a shirt and boots. But look at the garment that he's wearing. He's wearing a long garment. So this man must have just got off of the ship, or I don't know the whole backstory of this, but he has a yoke of iron around his neck. And you see the sign there, it says something to the effect of to be sold. You can't see it too well. Slaves. And back in the beginning of this hardcore slavery, they called us Hebrews, which Esau, not the best speaker in the world, he was trying to say Hebrews. So they knew that the people that were brought over here were actually the Hebrew Israelites. Here's another individual, which Esau put on, trousers and a jacket, and you can see he has a yoke of iron on his neck. This is the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. This is why when you go to Bible commentary, they're not going to say too much on it, because they would have to conclude that this is talking about so-called black people in slavery. We are the Israelites, and you can't stop this truth, and your kingdom is gone. Based upon what I saw yesterday in the news all day, the situation in Afghanistan, Joe Biden, they got to apply the 25th Amendment on this guy, because he's bringing the country down, which is a good thing. But there's a saying, and I did a video on it: Afghanistan, the graveyard of empires, and America is an empire. You see LeVar Burton. You see that same individual, the older Jake. You see a scene from the movie Amistad, which, by the way, those were Jakes. And when you go to Google and you put in yoke of iron on neck, or on thy neck, you're not going to see any other nation. You're not going to see a Chinese with a yoke of iron. You're not going to see a so-called white man with a yoke of iron. Let me pull up this one. Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. And you see they both men have a yoke of iron upon their neck. And the evidence keeps mounting against you, Esau, as to who we are. And just like the yoke of iron upon our neck came to pass, so will you going into captivity. You are going into captivity, and you're going to have yokes of iron upon your neck. So it's stupid to even look at this, man. Now this was made out of, it looks like it's made out of wood. It says capture of slaves and was that Coughless in Africa. Okay, so this is supposed to be in Africa. So they were capturing the slaves, and they put a yoke upon their neck so they wouldn't escape. You devils got a lot to pay for, man, and you are going to pay. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. We are the saints. Here's a slave collar. They call it a slave collar with bells. Why they put bells on? Because if you escape, they can hear you escaping. And you think you're not going to pay? That is why we call you, Vocab Malone, a clown. You're a clown, and no Israelite takes you seriously. And for you Jakes out there, I want to say this, man, about Captain Tazariak, man. You broke my heart, man. You went ahead and got it, and you said you wasn't going to get it. Now, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, and you made a statement on Sarnetta's show that you did it so we that fear it will eventually take it. No, that ain't gonna change our minds, because we know that what that's gonna lead to. I said in another video, I said anybody that takes the jab is gonna take the chip. Read Revelation 3 verse 10. You can read, the 10th verse. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.